Hey, what is up guys, and welcome to a quick interior show around on the Graywatch style house that we recently made. Now, since this video is probably going to end up being pretty short, I figured I could try to answer some of your guys' other questions. So in the comments, I did see some of you were wondering how I do my walls around the wheat fields along with the walls around some of the houses. And then there were a few people wondering how I did my paths and also how you get the cool extra blocks that the Conquest texture pack offers. So I'll try to do, I won't be too in-depth just because I know there's a bunch of other much more detailed tutorials on how to actually use those. And they go very specific into each one, especially with the world edit stuff. So I'll try to just give you guys quick tips or suggestions on what I do for mine, because trust me, there's no way I do these paths by hand. What I use for these is I use a world edit brush, and then I just sort of do a mixture, and then I go through here and make my lines, and then if there's anything that looks too messy, that's when I sort of go in by hand and clean it up afterwards. And then for the walls, once again, I do this pretty random as well, especially around the wheat fields. It's just basically all cobblestone, and I'll start by going around with the full blocks like this. So I'll try to show you guys this really quickly. But I'll go around where there's sort of a edge like this and just kind of follow it the best I can. And then once I'm done doing that, I'll go around and take my stairs like this, maybe throw a few of these in along with some half slabs or the cobblestone walls themselves. And I just try to make it look as messy as possible. And then the final touches I use is sort of around the base, and I almost make it look like it's falling apart or sort of corroding out into the land like that. So that's just some little tips for those walls if you do want to do those. Now for the houses, they're a little bit more detailed, just in the sense there are a bit more variations in the blocks you want to use. So for these, I do use the stone bricks along with cobblestone walls, and then for some little toppers for these, it is the stone slabs. And for this, I try not to be as random. I do have a sort of set pattern. So usually I start out once again with the, let me just show you this really quickly if I can. I'll start out by going the too tall with the stone bricks like this, but then when I'm done with that, I'll grab my stone slabs or stone half slabs, and I'll sort of skip blocks like that, and then on the block I skip, that's where I'll end up placing in the cobblestone wall. And actually it's a little bit different, isn't it? Usually it's something like this instead. Oops. And that's how you get it to look like that. And then I think, what else were you guys wondering? Let's see, I covered the paths, covered those walls, covered these walls. Oh yeah, the extra Conquest blocks. So, how you get these, and there's tons of them by the way, so there's no way I'm going to be able to cover them all. But say if you want to get these boxes, I think those are 5:11. So the base block in the default texture pack is going to be the oak wood full blocks. But to switch them, if you do want to do this, you will need Optifine, Conquest texture pack, and World Edit by the way, and you cannot be in 1.8. You have to be, I think, somewhere around the 1.7 update. So what you do is you left click it and then you right click it, and then you will do //set, and then the item ID for this will be 5:11. Let's see what this turns into. So yeah, then you'll get the box like that. And then say if you want to use a wine bottle in the default texture pack, that's going to end up being a cobweb. So we'll switch this just by left clicking, then right clicking, and then we'll go //set, and then I believe this one's 30:1. That didn't work, did it? Let's try it again. //set 30:1. There we go. So now it's the wine bottle, and that's how you get some of those. And I think there's at least 100 different ones you can choose from. It's just really cool, and I think you'll never be able to find them all. There's so many. And there's also some that are like biome specific. So say maybe in this biome this stuff is gray, and then if you maybe move it to a snow biome, it might be a completely different color, which is kind of cool. So finally to the interior, and really quick before I even go in there, I did add a few different things to the exterior. One was this little doorway cover. Pretty simple, I just used the oak wood stairs for that, but it does add a little bit more detail, which I quite like. And then two more things were just these chimneys, and this one is because we placed it in a fireplace, and then this chimney over here to the left is because we did place in a little stove in our kitchen area right next to the walkway. So as we come in through here, this is the sort of entrance, but I also turned it into the kitchen as well, just so it's kind of multi-purpose. And in case someone does still want to come in and relax instead of just completely work and cook, I did place in this bench just in case someone does want to just kind of come, talk, and then go and be on their way. But for the kitchen, we do have sort of the pots and pans and the knives up top. And then just so this kind of makes sense, I did place the cutting board right below the knife, so I thought that was kind of clever. And then right here is the stove, which kind of led to me placing the chimney on the outside. And then to sort of make the floor look a lot less plain, I threw in this bear pelt, and I thought this could also be sort of functional so that people's feet wouldn't get sore if they're standing there for quite some time. So now we'll move on to, oh yeah, and one more thing. I did try to fill up the walls as much as possible, because without all these it did look sort of plain, so by placing those in it really did help. So now we'll move on to what is my favorite room in this build, and that's the living room. Oops, how did those get messed up? So yeah, that's the little rug right there. Without it, as you can see, it does look pretty bare and empty, so placing this in can really help in adding to the detail of your build. But for this, I tried to make sort of a central fireplace and then have the seating almost wrap around the room, but not all the way. And to sort of mix it up, this, oh crap, what's going on? That could have been bad. This is, by the way, probably the first fire I've been able to throw in one of my builds without having it burn down. But yeah, to sort of mix it up, as I was saying, this little seating bench is placed directly against the wall, and then if we move over to the left, this one sort of has a backing to it, which allowed us to place these extra items on top just to even add further to the detail. And then speaking of more detail, I did throw this little mantle looking thing on top of the fireplace. I think that's what it's called. If not, it's just, you could call it a shelf. But this kind of allowed us to throw in some more chests up here, which also drastically increased the detail, and it just adds a really cool, unique look to it, I think. So what else is in here? We do have the bookshelves back here and everything. The bookshelves around the fireplace. What else is there? Oh yeah, this little room back here. We did end up with a little extra space, so I did just throw this place in. Of course, if you don't just want to make this storage, you could maybe make it a little pantry. Maybe throw some ingredients in there. And then you guys may have noticed the stairs, so we'll go ahead and head on up there. And that is the last floor. I didn't decide to place a basement in here. There really wasn't too much room to add a stairway. I guess if you wanted to have one, you could maybe switch out this pantry and maybe place either a ladder or stairs to go down there if you're sort of running out of room. But I think, because we did have room to place in almost 2 of these little get-together or living room spaces. The other one's going to be upstairs, so we'll head on up there. And by the way, for the stairs, it isn't completely flush. Usually I would have it so this one's a full block and then work my way up. But just so we could save space and have as much room as possible, I did sort of make this a little bit wonky. So you can see it doesn't line up completely, but you can still go up it without sort of bumping into anything, which is quite nice. So that way the stairs don't sort of run into the doorway at all. But as we come up here, if we move over to the left, this is just sort of a little seating area, along with some extra storage space with the crafting tables, and then these bookshelves with the other chests back here. And what else is there? Oh yeah, these chairs. I really like how these turned out with the sort of red all matching together. And then on this back window, what I did was just place in a table. And yeah, I think I already showed you guys how to get the wine bottles, didn't I? Yeah, I did that outside. But then also to sort of add some more color, I did throw in this blue plant, which I think looks really cool. Definitely adds a nice variation to the build. And other than that, it really does, it kind of matches the sky outside, which is really nice. And then before, I think you could see pretty much all of this nastiness. So what I did to sort of clean up the roof, or the ceiling if you want to call it, I threw in a bunch of these, I guess, spruce wood blocks. And it was just kind of a mixture of the stairs and then full blocks for the very top. And then it kind of carries out throughout the whole room, which is really cool. But if you do this and you want to place a door in here, I'd recommend leaving it always open, just because if you close it, you do end up with this weird little square above, which really doesn't look too nice. So if you do place these in, just try to keep them open as much as possible. But I think if you do have them in, they really actually turn out quite nice and just add even more detail. So this is the final room to the house. It's just sort of the master bedroom. And over here to the right, we have the the bed and the chest where he'd keep most of his supplies. And then over here on the left side, we do have the desk with the paper and quill. And then to give it a bit more of a story, I placed in this sort of, I guess you could call it a, well, of course in Minecraft it's the flower pot, but for this you can just pretend it's sort of the cup that holds the ink for the quill, so he can actually write something. Right guys, so that is going to be it for today. So please let me know in the comments if you do have any suggestions for other builds that we could place in this little farming town, so we can hurry up and get those done and then move on to the main city. I'm thinking about not doing like a blacksmith or any big shops in here, so if you know of any good farming buildings that would actually really fit in this place, I'd love to hear those. But yeah, I'm thinking about probably sticking with the style for just a little bit longer before we do move back to the Nordic or the Viking style. So hopefully you guys are all right with that. But anyways, as I said, that's going to be it for today. Thanks again for watching. Make sure to let me know what you thought in the comments. And as always, I will see you in the next one.